Hey everybody, it's Van Time with Chuck and Deb, and today we're going to talk about the push in Houston. Alright, today we have Philip and Chris Lynch here, and they're going to talk about the push that we've done in Houston.
Yeah, so this push in Houston, what really pushed us to even come to this place was Hurricane Harvey coming through. And as a team, 3 families, we found ourselves separated, evacuated in different places. And we just jumped on Zoom during the midst of the storm, knowing that our friends and a lot of people were going through it in the middle of it. And we just came together to pray for them and to pray for God's direction for us. How do we mobilize people? What do we need to do? And what needed to be done, honestly, was daunting. But we knew that God had positioned us and equipped us in a very unique place. And we were just reminded of Mark 1 of what Jesus did. He cared compassionately for people with the whole city. But he also said, I didn't come just to keep healing these people. I came to go to all the places and to take the gospel all there and to preach the kingdom. And so we knew that God was saying, you have to care for people in the midst of this, but even more importantly, you have to keep the main thing the main thing. No place left. Houston, and no place at Bay Area Houston, where we focus right now, is still the vision, the goal, and the task of every day for us. And you know, we were overwhelmed by Matthew 16. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but forfeit his soul? And so we just began to mobilize efforts to both care for the people around us and also to push hard into the harvest, to take the gospel forward, to make sure we're just not okay with there being a gospel gap, and thinking maybe there's even a heightened spiritual openness right now. We got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, you know, I've never been part of a network of people that not only had common vision and passion and focus, but had a common set of practices and principles and processes. And as we talked about being positioned for God to really work, and we realized that we had a whole network of people who were pushing hard daily to share the gospel, to take the gospel to people who hadn't heard it, to love them and care for them, and to really see God do amazing things to start movements. And so we just began to talk about how God had given us the resource. We're looking at all these different resources needed to meet the needs of people here in Houston. And the resource God had given us was not manpower for physical labor. It wasn't monetary resources or organization of things coming together. It was people who can share the gospel with people, who can take the kingdom forward. And we just prayed through and really said, why would we not do everything we could to bring that resource to the people of Houston right now in this time of crisis, a time where, like Philip said, maybe they're more open, maybe there's more of a spiritual awareness and a readiness. And so we started putting the call out, and it was absolutely amazing and humbling and encouraging to see that answer to that call. People from all over the U.S. and even across the world now, from Czech Republic, from Idaho, from Kansas City, across Texas, all kinds of people. We've had people communicate with us that really wanted to be here and it just wouldn't work right now. And so even more than the people that have come, there are many more that have been praying, that have been laboring alongside of us from a distance. And it's been incredibly encouraging to see that and to hear that and to know that, but also to know that we've got boots on the ground.
So we came with Chris to meet a lady named Eve that we were following up with, and she gave her life to Jesus just this past week, a handful of days ago. Sweet lady, and she's just been overwhelmed by the presence of Jesus. But as we came, we found her just not in a good place. She fell. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or the day before, but it's been in a lot of pain. She's clearly hurting badly, and hasn't let anybody know. And so we're just trying to care for her and help to meet those needs. The cool thing is that with Chris, his first response wasn't, let's call 911. It was, let's pray and ask Jesus to heal her. We're going to come back here in a little bit after this is all taken care of and see if we can't even reach out to her neighbors to help even alongside of us to help meet some of those long-term needs that she's going to continue to have as we walk with her.
If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but do not love, I'm nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast but do not have love, I gain nothing. It's war time, it's happening. We have to sharpen our plows into swords. But we must go in love for the people that God has created and that He's calling to Himself.
In the midst of devastation, and you'll walk through some of these neighborhoods, you may or may not be in a neighborhood where there's literally rubble everywhere. I call them war-torn neighborhoods. In the midst of that, I'll be honest, a big question around our area is, it may not be being said, but it really is, can you really lead with the gospel? We have to meet their needs first. They won't listen to you if you don't meet their needs. You can't do that now, and we believe God is saying more now than ever. And because Matthew 16, right? For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, but to forfeit his soul? And our greatest fear in this is that 6 months down the road, we'll get there and homes will be intact, jobs restored, paychecks restored, families back together in their homes, and yet there would be not a bit of change in the spiritual climate towards Jesus. And we're not okay with that. We're not okay with that.
People that will take the risk to go to people they've never met before and simply take the gospel, to start with the gospel. Not only starting with physical needs. There are people that are across Houston doing that, and it's awesome. It's amazing to see the church work. But we've also got to go and start with the gospel, and it's been incredibly encouraging to see the network, No Place Left Network, really rise up and to take that call and to go and to come to Houston and walk with us. So we've currently seen in the last 2.5 weeks 18 professions of faith. The amazing thing about that is the vast majority of those we're still connected with. Which has been a big jump for us. And then 2 of those have been baptized to date, and one will be baptized tomorrow, and there's a few more that we're currently talking to about being baptized.
Yeah, and 250 people or so have heard the gospel. Yeah. And we're just seeing God do amazing things. I think the hurricane is really what forced us to that point, but maybe it's God working to show all of us in the No Place Left Network that it doesn't have to take a hurricane to humble ourselves and even ask for others to come into our cities to push for No Place Left.
So that's No Place Left Houston, the Bay Area. And so if you've enjoyed this video, please pass it on to your friends. You can subscribe right here in the corner. And remember, keep making disciples until there's no place left. Okay, we have Philip and
Chris?
that guy.
Another guy, whatever his name is.